My parents excluded me for New Year's Eve, so I invited everyone else to my 4M beach house. Then calls began flooding in, but I never answered, and they watched fireworks from the street. Okay, so deep breaths. This is hard to even type out. My fingers hover over the keyboard, the cool plastic a stark contrast to the burning in my chest. My family, ugh. It's complicated. On the surface, everything looks perfect. Picture perfect, actually. Instagram-worthy, even. We're that family everyone envies. Close-knit, always laughing, big holiday gatherings documented with strategically angled photos and gushing captions. Matching Christmas pajamas, coordinated Easter egg hunts, the whole shebang. And honestly, for a long time, it was pretty great. I genuinely love my parents. They're good people, they raised me with a strong work ethic and a solid moral compass, all that good stuff. They taught me how to ride a bike, bandaged my scraped knees, and cheered me on at every soccer game. Those memories are real, and they're precious. But there's this underlying tension, this weird, almost imperceptible dynamic that's been brewing beneath the surface for years, a low hum that I've tried to ignore, and I just don't know what to do anymore. It feels like a knot in my stomach that tightens every time we're together. New Year's Eve has always been a huge deal for us. Massive family gathering at my parents' place, a tradition that stretches back as far as I can remember. My mom goes all out. Elaborate decorations, mountains of food, enough champagne to float a small yacht. The house would smell of pine needles and cinnamon, a scent I've always associated with warmth and belonging. It's always been my favorite holiday, not because of the fireworks or the champagne, but because it's always felt like us. Like our little tribe, our own peculiar ecosystem, coming together to celebrate another year navigated, another trip around the sun completed. We'd huddle around the fireplace, the crackling flames casting flickering shadows on the walls, and reminisce about funny memories, those inside jokes that only families share. We'd make grandiose resolutions we'd inevitably break by February, and just generally bask in the warm, fuzzy feeling of family, a feeling I craved, a feeling I relied on. It was our ritual, our anchor. I always looked forward to it. Always. I could practically taste the anticipation, the sweet tang of excitement mixed with the comforting familiarity of tradition. Now, here's the thing that probably makes this whole situation even messier, the elephant in the room, if you will. I've done pretty well for myself. Really well, actually. I own a beach house, a nice one, a really nice one. Like 4 million nice, complete with panoramic ocean views and a kitchen bigger than my first apartment. I worked my ass off for it, sacrificed sleep, weekends, and social life to build my business from the ground up. I remember the long nights fueled by instant coffee and sheer determination, the constant self-doubt battling with the unwavering belief in my vision. And while I know my parents are proud intellectually, I can see it in the polite smiles and the carefully chosen words. There's this weird vibe, like a disconcerting cocktail of pride and something else. Resentment? Jealousy? I don't know. It's subtle, like a faint whisper in the back of my mind, but it's there. It manifests in backhanded compliments, in subtle comparisons to my siblings, more traditional career paths. "Oh, Ashley, that's interesting," my mother would say, her tone implying anything but interest. My brother, a doctor, was always the golden child, his achievements lauded and celebrated. My sister, a teacher, was the embodiment of stability and respectability. And me? I was the anomaly, the wild card, the one who dared to stray from the prescribed path. And maybe, just maybe, this unspoken tension, this subtle undercurrent of disapproval, has something to do with what happened this New Year's Eve. It's like a puzzle piece that suddenly clicked into place, a sudden, unsettling clarity that left me feeling cold and exposed. It wasn't a single, defining moment, more like a slow drip, drip, drip of little things, seemingly insignificant on their own, but together they formed a corrosive pool of resentment that I tried so hard to ignore. It was the family dinners where my parents would discuss important decisions, renovations to the IR house, family vacations, even my niece's birthday party, without ever consulting me. They'd talk about me, not to me, as if I were an absent guest rather than a participating member of the family. I'd sit there, picking at my food, my smile feeling increasingly strained, a phantom limb of belonging. My input, my opinions, my preferences, they were irrelevant, like a forgotten ingredient in a recipe left to gather dust on the shelf. Then there were the constant, albeit subtle, comparisons to my siblings. My brother, the doctor, was always the benchmark, the shining example of success. Every conversation seemed to circle back to his latest accomplishment, his prestigious hospital, his brilliant colleagues. "Oh, Ashley, your brother just published another paper in a medical journal," my mother would gush, her eyes sparkling with pride. And I'd force a smile, a tight, brittle thing that felt like it might crack at any moment, and mumble something about how great that was. Inside, though, a different narrative was unfolding, a silent scream of frustration and inadequacy. I wasn't competing with my brother, I knew that, logically, but the constant comparisons felt like a subtle erosion of my own accomplishments. Like my hard work, my dedication, my success, was somehow less than. My sister, the teacher, was the steady one, the dependable one, the one who followed the right path. She got married young, had 2 adorable kids, and lived in a charming suburban house with a white picket fence. The picture of domestic bliss. And while I genuinely loved my sister and her family, the constant praise for her traditional choices felt like a veiled criticism of my own. "Ashley, when are you going to settle down?" my mother would ask, her voice laced with a mixture of concern and thinly veiled disapproval. "Don't you want a family of your own?" The questions hung in the air, heavy and suffocating, a constant reminder of my perceived shortcomings. Each question chipped away at my confidence, at my sense of self. I wasn't choosing to be different, I was simply choosing my own path, a path that didn't necessarily align with their expectations. And that, it seemed, was the problem. I really did. I tried to brush it off, to tell myself I was being overly sensitive, that they didn't mean it that way. I tried to maintain a positive attitude, to focus on the good aspects of our relationship, to cling to the memories of warmth and connection. But the resentment, like a persistent weed, kept pushing its way through the cracks, its tendrils wrapping around my heart, slowly constricting my ability to breathe. I started dreading family gatherings, my stomach twisting into knots days before the event. The forced smiles, the polite conversations, the subtle digs, it all felt like a performance, a charade I was increasingly tired of playing. I loved my family, but I was starting to feel like an outsider, an anomaly, a square peg trying to fit into a round hole. And the worst part? I couldn't even articulate what was wrong. It was this intangible, insidious thing, a silent rift that was slowly but surely tearing us apart. It was a Tuesday afternoon, a week before New Year's Eve. I was scrolling through Instagram, mindlessly double-tapping pictures of festive decorations and holiday cheer, when I saw it. A picture posted by my sister, a boomerang of her kids decorating a gingerbread house, frosting smeared on their cheeks, pure, unadulterated joy radiating from their faces. Cute, right? Except the caption, "Getting ready for New Year's Eve at Mom and Dad's. Can't wait to ring in the new year with the whole family." The whole family. Everyone, except me, apparently. My stomach dropped. It felt like someone had punched me in the gut, the air knocked clean out of my lungs. The whole family. My brother, his wife, their kids. My sister, her husband, their kids. Aunts, uncles, cousins. Probably even the family dog. Everyone. Except me. I stared at the picture, my finger hovering over the screen, my mind racing. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe they just forgot to mention me. Maybe they were planning a separate celebration just for me. I clutched at straws, desperately trying to salvage the last vestiges of hope. Then I saw the comments. Cousins, aunts, uncles, all chiming in with excited comments about how much they were looking forward to seeing everyone. Not a single mention of me. TH. E-confirmation hit me like a tidal wave, washing away any remaining doubt. I wasn't invited. I was Excluded. The sting of realization was sharp, a visceral pain that radiated through my chest. It wasn't just about the party, it was about the underlying message, the unspoken confirmation of my deepest fears. I was the outsider, the anomaly, the one who didn't quite fit, the one they didn't bother to invite. My eyes prickled with tears, hot and angry, but I blinked them back, refusing to give them the satisfaction of seeing me crumble. I closed the app, my phone feeling heavy in my hand, a physical manifestation of the weight in my heart. My first instinct was to call my mother, to demand an explanation, to unleash the torrent of hurt and anger that was churning inside me. But then, pride kicked in. A cold, hard knot of defiance that solidified in my stomach. No, I wouldn't give them the satisfaction of seeing me beg. I wouldn't let them see how much their exclusion had hurt me. I would swallow my pride, I would maintain my composure, I would pretend I didn't care. But deep down, beneath the layers of forced indifference, a different plan was beginning to form. A plan fueled by hurt pride and a burning desire for revenge? Retribution? I didn't know. All I knew was that I wasn't going to let them get away with this. Not this time. The phone slipped from my numb fingers, landing on the plush carpet with a muffled thud. I didn't even register the sound. I just sat there, frozen, staring blankly at the wall, the image of my sister's Instagram post seared into my mind. The whole family. Except me. The words echoed in my head, a relentless mantra of exclusion. A wave of emotions crashed over me, a tsunami of hurt, anger, and frustration. My chest ached, a physical manifestation of the emotional blow. Hot tears welled up in my eyes, blurring my vision. I blinked rapidly, willing them away, but they kept coming, a relentless stream of salty betrayal. I curled up on the sofa, hugging a throw pillow to my chest, trying to contain the storm raging inside me. I felt like a child, abandoned and forgotten, left out in the cold while everyone else celebrated inside. The warmth and belonging I had always associated with New Year's Eve had been replaced by a chilling sense of isolation. Then, anger took over, a hot, burning rage that pulsed through my veins. How dare they? How dare they exclude me, their own daughter, from a tradition that meant so much to me? Had I done something wrong? Had I unknowingly offended them? The question swirled in my mind, adding fuel to the fire of my indignation. I wanted to scream, to yell, to lash out at someone, anyone. But who? My parents? My siblings? It felt like I was trapped in a cage of my own making, unable to express the raw, visceral emotions that were consuming me. And then, in the midst of the emotional chaos, a thought sparked, a tiny flicker of defiance in the darkness. An idea, impulsive and reckless, but undeniably tempting. I would throw my own New Year's Eve party, a bigger, better party than anything my parents could ever imagine. I would invite everyone except them. Cousins, friends, neighbors, even some of their close friends. I would show them what they were missing. I would show them that I didn't need their validation, their approval, their inclusion. I could create my own happiness, my own sense of belonging. The idea took root, growing stronger with each passing moment. A surge of adrenaline coursed through me, replacing the hurt and anger with a strange sense of power. Yes, that was it. Power. I would take back the power they had so carelessly taken from me. I would show them that I wasn't a child anymore, a pawn in their family dynamics. I was an independent, successful woman, capable of creating my own traditions, my own celebrations. A vision of my parents standing outside my beach house, watching the fireworks from the street, flashed through my mind. A small, satisfied smile crept onto my lips. Yes, that's exactly what I would do. It was childish, I knew, petty even, but in that moment, it felt like the only way to reclaim my sense of self-worth, to soothe the sting of their rejection. It was a spur-of-the-moment decision, fueled by hurt pride and a desperate need for something. Revenge? Validation? I didn't know. All I knew was that I was going to throw the best damn New Year's Eve party. this town had ever seen, and my parents weren't invited. My fingers flew across the screen, a flurry of taps and swipes as I compiled a guest list. Cousins? Check. Friends? Check. Neighbors? Check. Even some of my parents, close friends, the ones who always treated me with genuine warmth and respect, unlike some people. A wicked little thrill shot through me with each name I added, a perverse satisfaction in imagining my parents' reaction. This wasn't just a party. It was a statement, a carefully orchestrated act of rebellion. The invitations went out, a digital cascade of festive emojis and enthusiastic pronouncements of a New Year's Eve bash to end all New Year's Eve bashes. Champagne flowing, fireworks exploding, good vibes only, I typed, adding a winking emoji for good measure. I even hired a DJ, a local legend known for his infectious energy and eclectic playlists. This wasn't going to be some lame family gathering with lukewarm punch and awkward small talk. This was going to be an epic celebration, a night to remember, or, in my parents' case, a night to regret. The responses poured in, a chorus of enthusiastic yeses and excited exclamations. OMG, Ashley! Can't wait! This is going to be epic! Best New Year's Eve plans ever! The validation was intoxicating, a balm to the wounded ego. See? I didn't need their invitation. I could create my own fun, my own community, my own sense of belonging. Then, the phone calls started. Not the fun, celebratory kind, but the concerned, questioning, accusatory kind. My Aunt Susan, bless her heart, was the first. Ashley, honey, is everything all right? She asked, her voice laced with worry. I saw your invitation and, well, I noticed your parents weren't on the list. Is there something going on? I mumbled something about wanting to do something different this year. Something more my speed. She didn't sound convinced. Next came my cousin Sarah, always the blunt one. Ashley, what the hell are you doing? She demanded, her voice sharp. You're excluding your own parents from New Year's Eve? That's just messed up. I bristled at her tone, my defensiveness flaring. They excluded me first, I retorted, my voice tighter than I intended. I'm just returning the favor. Silence. A heavy, uncomfortable silence that stretched between us like a taut wire. Look, I finally said, my voice softening slightly. It's complicated. I don't want to talk about it. And I hung up, the phone feeling hot in my hand. The calls kept coming, a relentless barrage of concerned relatives and confused friends, all questioning my decision, all accusing me of being childish and spiteful. Each call chipped away at my resolve, the initial rush of righteous anger slowly giving way to a nagging sense of guilt. Was I being too extreme? Was this really the best way to handle the situation? A small voice in the back of my mind whispered that, maybe, just maybe, I was taking things too far. But I quickly silenced it, reminding myself of the sting of exclusion, the hurt, the anger, the feeling of being invisible. No, I deserved this. They deserved this, didn't they? My phone buzzed again, another incoming call. This time, it was my brother. I stared at the screen, my heart pounding in my chest. I didn't want to talk to him, not now, not when I was still so raw, so vulnerable. I let it go to voicemail, the buzzing vibrating against my leg like a persistent insect. He'd leave a message I knew he would. He'd try to reason with me, to appeal to my sense of family, to guilt me into changing my mind. But I wasn't ready to listen. Not yet. I silenced my phone, the sudden quiet feeling almost deafening. The silence amplified the internal conflict raging within me, the battle between feeling justified in my actions and experiencing a twinge of guilt. I closed my eyes, taking a deep breath, trying to calm the storm brewing inside me. This was supposed to be a celebration, a triumphant act of defiance. So why did I feel so conflicted? The party was a blur. A kaleidoscope of flashing lights, pulsating music, and boisterous laughter. The house was packed. Wall-to-wall people, a sea of smiling faces, and festive attire. The champagne flowed freely, the DJ spun infectious beats, and the atmosphere crackled with an electric energy. I played the role of the gracious hostess, flitting from group to group, laughing, chatting, pretending everything was mean. And for a while it almost was. I lost myself in the music, in the conversations, in the sheer exhilaration of the moment. It felt good to be surrounded by people, to feel the warmth of their laughter, to bask in the glow of their approval. For a brief, fleeting moment, I almost forgot why I was throwing this party in the first place. But the thought of my parents, a persistent shadow lurking in the corners of my mind, wouldn't let me fully escape. Like a low hum beneath the music, a nagging doubt kept intruding on my manufactured joy. Had I made the right decision? Was this too extreme? Was I hurting them more than I was hurting myself? The questions swirled in my head, mixing with the champagne bubbles, creating a dizzying cocktail of guilt and defiance. I caught snippets of conversations, whispers and hushed tones that pricked at my conscience. Did you hear about Ashley's parents? Can you believe she didn't invite them? It's so dramatic. The words stung, a subtle reminder of the social transgression I had committed. I plastered a smile on my face, pretending not to hear, but the whispers followed me, like phantom whispers echoing in the cavernous spaces of my mind. I stepped out onto the deck, seeking a moment of respite from the noise and the swirling emotions. The cool night air brushed against my skin, a welcome contrast to the stifling heat of the crowded house. The ocean stretched out before me, a vast expanse of darkness punctuated by the twinkling lights of distant ships, the rhythmic crashing of waves against the shore, a soothing lullaby that momentarily calmed the storm raging inside me. And that's when I saw them, my parents, standing at the edge of my property, just beyond the wrought iron gates, their silhouettes outlined against the backdrop of the night sky. They were looking up, their faces illuminated by the bursts of color exploding above us. The fireworks, the grand finale of my carefully orchestrated act of rebellion. My breath caught in my throat. A strange mixture of emotions flooded through me, a potent cocktail of satisfaction, guilt, and something else. Sadness? Regret? I couldn't quite name it. Seeing them standing there, excluded from the warmth and laughter spilling from my house, a pang of guilt shot through me, sharp and unexpected. They looked small, vulnerable, not the imposing figures I had always perceived them to be. But then, the image of my sister's Instagram post flashed through my mind. The whole family. Except me. The words echoed in my head, a reminder of the hurt, the anger, the feeling of being erased. The guilt receded, replaced by a stubborn sense of justification. They had made their choice. They had excluded me first. This was the consequence of their actions. I watched them for a long moment, their faces a mixture of awe and something else. Resignation? Sadness? I couldn't tell. The fireworks continued to explode above us, a dazzling display of light and sound, a fitting backdrop for the drama unfolding below. The irony wasn't lost on me. I had created this spectacle, this extravagant display of defiance, to prove a point, to make a statement. But in that moment, as I watched my parents standing outside my gates, excluded from the celebration I had orchestrated, I wasn't sure what point I had proven. Or to whom. A wave of exhaustion washed over me, a sudden depletion of energy. The adrenaline that had fueled my actions had dissipated, leaving behind a hollow ache in its place. I turned away from the spectacle, retreating back into the warmth of the house, the noise and the laughter now grating on my nerves. The party continued to rage around me, but I felt disconnected. Like an observer, watching a play unfold from a distance. The image of my parents standing outside my gates, watching the fireworks from the street, remained etched in my mind, a persistent reminder of the complicated, messy tapestry of family dynamics. Had I gone too far? Had I crossed a line? The questions lingered, unanswered, echoing in the silence that followed the final explosion of fireworks. The next morning the house felt sterile. Stripped bare of its festive energy, it echoed with the ghosts of the previous night's revelry. Empty champagne bottles littered the counters. Discarded confetti clung to the furniture, and the lingering scent of stale cigarette smoke hung heavy in the air. It was a stark reminder of The forced gaiety, the manufactured joy that had masked the underlying tension, the unspoken conflict that had simmered beneath the surface. The silence from my parents was deafening. No phone calls, no texts, no emails, nothing. It was a silence that spoke volumes, a silence heavier than any shouted accusation. It was the silence of disappointment, of hurt, of, I didn't even know. It felt like a chasm had opened up between us, a vast unbridgeable gulf that stretched beyond words, beyond explanations. The rest of the family was awkward. Whispers followed me like shadows, hushed conversations that ceased abruptly when I entered the room. My Aunt Susan called, her voice strained, offering vague platitudes about family and working things out. My brother left another voicemail, his tone, softer this time, tinged with a hint of pleading. I didn't listen to it. I couldn't. I wasn't ready to face the inevitable wave of guilt and recrimination that would wash over me. My sister, predictably, was furious. She sent a scathing text message, accusing me of being selfish, childish, and disrespectful. "How could you do this to Mom and Dad?" she demanded. "They're getting older, Ashley. They don't deserve this." I stared at the message, my fingers hovering over the keyboard, unsure how to respond. Part of me wanted to defend myself, to explain my side of the story, to justify my actions. But what was there to explain? What was there to justify? I had acted impulsively, out of hurt and anger, and now, in the cold light of day, I wasn't sure if I regretted it or not. The silence from my parents, the awkwardness with the rest of the family, it all felt like a heavy weight on my chest, constricting my ability to breathe. I was trapped in a self-made prison of guilt and resentment, the walls closing in around me, suffocating me with the weight of my own actions. It's been a week now, and the silence persists. A heavy, oppressive silence that hangs in the air like a shroud. No one has tried to mediate. No one has reached out to bridge the divide. We're stuck in a stalemate, a silent war of attrition, each side waiting for the other to make the first move. And now, here I am, sitting alone in my 4 million beach house, the silence amplified by the vast emptiness of the space, the panoramic ocean view, a mocking reminder of the isolation I feel. The house, once a symbol of my success, my independence, now feels like a gilded cage, a monument to my own self-imposed exile. The fireworks, the party, the carefully orchestrated act of rebellion, it all feels meaningless. A hollow victory that has left me feeling more empty than ever. So Reddit, I'm asking you, the impartial jury of the internet, AITA, am I the asshole for throwing my own New Year's Eve party after my parents excluded me? Was my reaction justified, or did I take it too far? I need an outside perspective, a voice of reason to cut through the fog of guilt and resentment that has enveloped me. Tell me, internet strangers, was I wrong?